is for sure, and two things are certain. A crisis can happen at any time, and it doesn't always come with a warning. And when it does, it can leave us trying to figure out what just happened and how to move forward. But here is something else that is certain. If you will stay with us, you will learn how to navigate a crisis. This is NCUFM's Living It Workshop, and we start right now. Welcome to the NCU Media Group's Living It Workshop titled Watch, Warning, and the Way Forward. Tonight, we're diving into a topic that many of us have experienced but may not always fully understand, and that is crisis. You know, as Jamaicans, we often pride ourselves on being resilient, and rightly so. We laugh a lot, and yes, we are going to make jokes about everything. We are a seriously unserious group of people. But sometimes in the process, we overlook the psychological impact of what we have been through, and we don't always take the time to prepare for what comes next. Here at the NCU Media Group, we believe in living it, staying true to that. Tonight, we will show you how to live more intentionally after a crisis. And using Hurricane Melissa as a case in point, we will explore what it means to bounce back, and more importantly, how to bounce back stronger. Through expert insights and practical solutions, we'll examine how crisis affects us mentally and how we can recover in ways that are effective and sustainable, whether it is in our homes or livelihoods or our communities. So welcome to our online YouTube audience tuning in via NCU TV Jamaica and watch EJC live, and to those joining us on Flow TV channel 617. So happy to have you with us. I want to say hello to those on our YouTube. Maxine Anderson says, good evening to my NCUFM family, blessings. Claudia says, good evening, 91.1, 91.3, 91.5 FM, radio NCU transforming lives through education and wellness. Gloria says, good evening, everyone. Claudia, still in the drive, saying check, 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 check. Mrs. Lawrence, Fabia Phillips Lawrence saying, hello, everyone. And Denise says, good evening, everyone. Those are all the persons and the comments that I am seeing over there on our NCU TV Live. I'll try to go to EJC. That one is not working out for me right now, but we'll get there. Want to say thanks to our sponsors, Isratech Jamaica Limited, Freeform Factory Limited, and of course you're seeing, I don't know if you can tell, but this is a new location, a very fancy one. And if you are in Mandeville or you will be coming to Mandeville anytime soon, please do visit the Garden Hotel. So let me hear from you. When a crisis hits, how do you usually respond? Do you take time to process it, or do you move on quickly? And to be honest, do we sometimes, as Jamaicans, laugh things off much more than we should? Well, share your thoughts in the chat. And for our Zoom participants, I know you didn't get your pre-show, but don't go anywhere. There will certainly be a post-show. But stay with us until the end to, of course, receive your certificate of participation and to take part in our quiz. And listen carefully, because those who are quick and accurate, my first lighters will know how all about this, will have the chance to win a prize. This is exclusively for our registered Zoom participants. And to our listeners on NCUFM 91.1, 91.3, and 91.5, thank you so much for being part of the conversation. You can, of course, send us your feedback via WhatsApp at 876-457-1414. Let us now hear about our main presenter as we get, as we say, as Jamaicans, into the meat of the matter.
Our main presenter is a servant leader who leads with integrity, compassion, and excellence. Dr. Grace Kelly possesses years of progressive professional accomplishments as an educator, university administrator, counselor, corporate trainer, international motivational speaker, grief and trauma therapist and coach, crisis interventionist, and 6-time Amazon International Bestseller visionary author. She provides individuals, groups, and teams in organizations and communities with effective tools to survive and thrive amidst chaos. She excels in creating and delivering stimulating Christ-centered, client-focused services, care, and support. Dr. Kelly is dedicated to building resilience, enhancing positive emotional well-being, and cultivating a compassionate culture within families, organizations, and communities. A proud product of Northern Caribbean University, Andrews University, Stonebridge Associated Colleges in the United Kingdom, and Atlantic International University, where she earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Secondary Education, a Master's of Arts in School Counseling, an Education Specialist degree, and Doctor of Philosophy degree in Curriculum and Instruction, Diploma in Grief and Bereavement Therapy, and a postdoctorate in Clinical Psychology. Dr. Kelly is currently serving as Director of Curriculum Development, Examination, and Assessment, and also an Associate Professor at NCU. The 2019 Governor General Achievement Award and the NCU 2022 Beacon Award, the 2023 designation I Believe Ambassador are just some of the many accolades that testify to the quality and profound impact of her philanthropic work. Her life's theme is, "For what I do know about God, I can trust Him for what I do not know." Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Grace Kelly.
For being here, Dr. Kelly. To start things off, what is a crisis?
Well, it's my pleasure being here. And a crisis can be anything that poses a challenge psychologically, socially, emotionally, a challenge that needs immediate attention, that pushes anyone beyond their limit or their ability to cope. So anything that disturbs your equilibrium, your ability to cope, that's what a crisis is.
Interesting. Please do tell us more.
Okay, so this afternoon we are here to dive deeper into the topic of crisis, and my responsibility is to help persons appreciate what needs to happen when they face such situation. So as I said before, a crisis is anything that challenges one's ability to cope. You are navigating life, everything seems to be fine, and then this interruption just happens. So when we are faced with a crisis, we do several things. We can fight back. So we want to use the energy that we have, and sometimes we would have lost that energy, depends on the nature of the crisis. So some persons, we talk about the fight, the flight, the fight, and the freeze. So fighting back, you become angry, upset, and sometimes to the point where you are not able to even think clearly. So your attempt to fight is to be able to, you spoke about earlier, in terms of bouncing back. Nowadays, we don't talk about bouncing back, we talk about bouncing forward, because we do not just want you to get back to where you were, we want you to get beyond that. So the next response would be somebody, the flight, running away from what has happened, or avoiding having to face the reality of what happens. And finally, in the flight, fight, freeze mode, you shut down totally. I'm sure a lot of us would have had that experience where something happened and you want to talk, you want to shout, you want to cry, but you can't because your entire physical and psychological systems freeze. Now, I try to make this easy for our participants, and there are some acronyms that I'm going to be using which will help you to recall in times when this is needed mostly. So when there is crisis, there is crisis, all right? So crisis spells confusion. So there's confusion individually, internally, you are confused. And also around us, there is confusion in the community, in the group, in the home, wherever we are. There is also the positive and negative reaction. So some persons can respond positively to a challenge, a crisis, and others respond negatively. And you mentioned earlier that some persons laugh through the crisis. And I recall having seen individuals who they are just grinning, and it's not the jovial kind of happy laugh. It's a laugh that is saying, hey, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. So that's their reaction. And the I stands for instability. So we would have seen Hurricane Melissa and what happened and how people have responded to it. So within the community, within ourselves, we have that level of instability and stress overload. Talking about stress, being pulled from one end to the other. Stress affects us physically, emotionally, and in so many different ways. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So the crisis, again, spells confusion, reaction, positive and negative reaction, instability, stress overload, and identity disruptions. What do you mean by that, Dr. Kelly? A person in a situation possibly would have lost their parent or their spouse. So the identity disruption, I'm no longer a wife or a husband. I know I'm a widow or widower. Someone suffered from the loss of a limb, or they would have suffered from situations, say for example, how the hotels, the industry has been affected and they would have lost their job. So they have to be talking now about change of identity. They are no longer an employed person. They are now seeking employment. So those are some of the ways in which that spells out. Now, I want us to look at this question I ask everyone to consider. When crisis hits, what do you really do? What do you really do? We talk about the freeze, the panic, taking action, or seek support. If I were to open the floor, and I wish that persons would write their responses so you could share them with me later. But there's on the screen a print, a fingerprint, and it's there for a reason. Because as unique as your fingerprint is to you as an individual, that's how unique people's responses are. There are no two people who would respond to a crisis the same way. So think about it. How do you respond? Do you freeze? Do you get panic? Do you take action? What do you really do? We talked about the Hurricane Melissa, but we just came out of Hurricane Beryl, and then previously we had the COVID-19 situation, the pandemic, which devastated the entire world. There is also the losses that one could experience, which become a crisis for them, the loss of a loved one. How about relational challenges, divorce, separation, abandonment, and those, the loss of a job, economic stress, 1 pound of tomato, $1,000. You are accustomed to going to the supermarket or the market with 5,000. Now you may have to consider 50. Community disruptions, and that's not new for us in Manchester, nor even across Jamaica or the world at large. We had the crisis with the lockdown in terms of crime. We have the situations now that's happening in the East, the Middle East, and all over the world, in the United States, the challenges that are there. So the question, another question we usually ask persons to think through, in a crisis, what happens to you as a person and as a community. There is the storm. Again, another acronym. Sleep issues. There is sleep disorder. Sleeping too much or not getting enough sleep. How about the tension in the family, the tension at work, the tension in the community? How about overthinking things? What if? Oh, I could have died. Okay, I've lost everything. And how am I going to get back on my feet? Some people overthink things, and so the impact becomes more severe. And there is mood shift. This moment, you are happy. The other moment, you're frustrated, and you wonder what's happening to me, or you wonder what's happening to the persons around you. So individually, those are some of the things that can happen. And it's very important that we identify what's happening and also ensure that there is early detection so that we can have proper treatment. In the community, what's happening with the individual spills over in the family, and it then spills over in the community. So the dynamics, and there is vicarious trauma, with the crisis, there's vicarious trauma. I may not have experienced the direct crisis, but because of the association with individuals or the community, I start feeling the impact. Now again, within the community, I want you to remember waves. There's withdrawal. Persons, they stop socializing as they would have. There's aggression and there's conflict in the community. There is vulnerability where persons, they may start abusing substances, and even persons within the crisis, there are other crises. Let's go back to COVID-19. Within that time, while we were talking about international or global pandemic, there was a pandemic within the pandemic. What was that? The domestic violence. That became a pandemic within the pandemic. So everybody becomes vulnerable. There are persons, we would have heard of persons who were sexually molested while they were in different shelters or in the dark because of what happened. Now, those are some of the ways in which persons become very vulnerable. And the E stands for emotional despair. There is hopelessness, and there are these challenges that affect us, and there is social breakdown. The good thing about life or a crisis or a situation is that it poses a challenge, but it also presents opportunity. In our situation, the psychosocial first aid is one way in which we can respond to the crisis. And simply put, look, when you face with a crisis, you look to see what's happening, you listen to the challenges, you listen to the persons and how they're affected, and then you provide appropriate links. And it's important for us to know where to send persons in order to get the appropriate help. Now, bouncing forward, the reset is necessary. So what do? We recognize what is happening, we engage and find support within the family or the community, we stabilize, we provide support so that persons can maintain their focus, and we give them an opportunity to express their emotion. So don't tell them don't cry. Don't tell them don't be upset because life could have been worse. Give them an opportunity. And then one of the most significant points is taking action towards rebuilding, restoring that which was lost. And another set of principles that I have put together for you, the RAPID model, and that is report and reflective listening. Rapport and reflective listening. I apologize for that. Rapport building is in entering a situation with an individual or a family or a community. You get comfortable with them and listen. Don't just listen, intentional listening, and assess the need, Then you prioritize what is needed at the time. Do they need first aid in terms of medical? Do they need a place they can sleep? Do they need food? What is it that they need? And then you intervene. That's where you ensure that they remain calm, you provide the support, and then you take the next step, disposition. So here are some things we can do right now. We could do the breathing technique, and this one is very popular for persons who are experiencing fatigue, and if they are needing to be stabilized, simply, and for those who are listening and are watching, just ask you, breathe, take a deep breath. And I'm going to say in, 2, 3, 4 for 4 counts. And you hold it and exhale. So show someone how to do that. So you take the breath in, hold, and out. And you can do the count. You can ask the person to shift their focus by doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, what is that? Use your senses to shift the focus from the stress that you're experiencing as a result of a crisis. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can see. You can touch, 2 things you can, what did I not do, taste, and so on. All right, so use your 5 senses, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hope I remembered mine. And call somebody, get help. And another thing, simple, take a deep breath in, lift the shoulder. That's the only time the shoulder should go up because your lungs are not in your shoulder. But you breathe in, lift, and then try that. You may never know. It can help. Conversations. How has it been with you since the hurricane? I may not know exactly how you're feeling, but right now I'm here to listen. You can be free to express yourself as you feel right now. Work together, help to build the house, help to clean up the situation, help to care for the children or the elderly. Do something, but work together and encourage hope. You know, so many times persons feel down and out, and most times we have individuals seeking to support them, but they say the wrong things. So while you are interacting with them, here are some suggested ways in which you can speak. Instead of saying, at least you survive. No, that's not good, even though it sounds good. I'm so sorry you're going through this. How can I support you right now? That's a better way to say that. I know exactly how you feel. No, nobody else can know how you feel. Instead of saying that, I may not fully understand, but I'm here, I'm listening. You should be over that by now. Oh, wow, that's like a dagger in the soul. Healing takes time, so please take all the time you need to heal. Others had it worst. No. Your feelings are valid. So validate their feeling. Don't tell them not to cry. It's okay to feel emotional. And going through this, it must be tough. So you share that with them. Calm down. No. Take time. Take your time. I'm here right now with you. And one of the things that we do, we encourage people, stay strong. How can I? Instead of saying strong, help them to understand that right now, you don't have to be strong for you nor anyone. So allow yourself to feel. And where do you find your anchor? Is it in God's word? What is it? How can you cope? Focus on what it is that brings you a sense of hope, calm. And remember, a crisis is not the end. it is a turning point. And my question to you, what is your takeaway this afternoon? What one thing will you do differently when you go? Or even what one thing will you rephrase and say differently based on this brief conversation that we have had?
Wow. Dr. Kelly, you took us for a little deep dive right there. And personally, especially on that one where you said just now, stay strong. It's so easy to say that to persons, be strong, you're going to get through this. And we think that we're encouraging persons, but learning that it is important for us to allow people to sit with their feelings and to be okay with not being okay when they're going through a crisis is so very important. I wrote down a few things also that I took from earlier points in your presentation. And for this one, I know that some persons don't even realize that they're doing it. When I saw it on the screen, I had to physically do it, the tongue drop.
Oh, okay, yes.
Sometimes our shoulders are so tense and our tongues, when we close our mouth, are at the roof of our mouth. And we don't realize that that is, a really tense position. So if you are listening, watching, where is your tongue right now? Tongue drop.
So you take a deep breath in,
yes,
and then you intentionally drop your tongue, and that releases the tension.
Wow. And a few other points, pay attention first. It's so easy for us to go in and to talk. But you're encouraging us when we're dealing with crisis and people to pay attention first, to analyze and assess and to go at the pace of the individual. And for us as Jamaicans, to be very, very careful of what we say, because that can have a negative impact and further, make things worse for the individual.
If time allows, I've done a lot of the responses to the crisis across the Western region.
Yes.
And the presence, a lot of things were being given. Food, you think of it.
Yes.
There are some persons who said, they have enough that they can open a store. But one of the challenges that they faced was that they pass and they give us things, but nobody stopped to ask, how are you?
Wow.
So it's not just even asking the question, just being there physically and be present with them. And as you reinforce, work at their pace. Don't rush them. And don't expect them to just bounce forward immediately. Give them time. But pay attention to what's happening on the inside. Let them feel cared for, appreciated, and I would even add loved.
That's how it should be. Thank you so much again, Dr. Kelly. Giselle, what's happening on Zoom?
Hi. Well, I can tell you that Zoom is really festive right now. They're really learning about the different ground tools that Dr. Kelly would have shared. And one of the things that I'm seeing standing out in different ways is that they're saying, don't force persons to bounce back. Give them grace. I hope you saw what I did there. I had to make that joke. But I'm also seeing in our Zoom chat, persons are saying that Jamaicans take things as a joke, whereas I would always say we're very seriously unserious. I'm seeing messages from Denise. Denise made a very important point later down in the chat. Let me see if I can find that really quickly. Okay, oh, that was a question, no problem. But persons are also saying that we need to be careful as to what we say to other persons. I see some persons are also saying that they remember acronym class. Yes, they had a bit of an acronym class moment going on there. And they are, of course, learning a bit more about what they can do to cope in serious situations. So, yeah, we're learning.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tajel. If you have questions, please don't go anywhere. We will be taking them later. But right now, we have to run to the break.
our energy. We help businesses and industries power their operations smarter, improving efficiency, reducing energy waste, and supporting long-term sustainability. Energy solutions and systems trusted by commercial, industrial, hospitality, and public sector clients. Energy consultation and system design, installation, optimization, and after-sales service and support. Prime power, generator and solar power you can count on. Let's work together because it's time to power progress, reduce costs, and operate sustainably. Get your quote today. Call or WhatsApp 876-578-5817 today.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You are watching and listening to NCU Media Group's Living It workshop. And as with any meaningful workshop, it's not just about discussion, it's also about action. And that is why we have included a practical component to help you apply what you are learning. And to bring this into focus, Shanessa Hall took a visit to East Jamaica Limited to explore how farmers can recover and rebuild in a sustainable way after a crisis like a hurricane. Let's take a look.
So we're live here on location in Kendall, Manchester at East Jamaica Limited Superstore. And I'm joined by Technical Director, Mr. Arturo Ramirez.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having us. So tell us a bit more about East Jamaica Limited.
All right. So East Jamaica is a leading company not only in the agriculture sector, but also we provide products for the waterworks sector, for the solar sector, and also for the chemical sector. Here in the Superstore, you can find a wide variety of products for all those four groups that I told you about before.
In light of the recent hurricane, what are some of the challenges that farmers would be facing?
I traveled several areas in the island and I found that major infrastructure was mashed up. So the people were facing lack of power, and we were there also supplying generators. We were there supplying also solar pumps. We were there supplying tanks for water storage and also agricultural supplies just to overcome this crisis.
Okay. And as you mentioned that water solutions, it was compromised, and your team also led out with that in Waterworks,
yeah.
I believe it was.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, the variety of products that we have here in the Superstore allow us to tailor solutions for different requirements. So, in order to overcome several crises facing the scarcity of the resources, we can set up solutions just to overcome those problems, of course.
How can farmers use different technology to help with sustainable farming going forward?
All right. Okay. So we also have solutions for small farmers and farmers that also want to start maybe in their backyard. All right, or maybe in a very small plot. So we also have hydroponic solutions such as this NFT tower. But not only this, we have different models. This is a stackable, and you can just set this up, plug and play. And also you can have you can grow from 80 plants on this small area, or you can grow up to 240 plants.
What kind of plants?
Okay, this is intended mainly for leafy greens.
Okay.
All right, and I mean, this is a very simple solution for the people to start growing their own vegetables. But let's say that farmers also want to start in a small scale project. So over here we also have the Mapaltra, where this system can be set up in a very small place. You can also have drip irrigation system. You can have your growing media over here, and you can grow your crops right here in that system.
what we find is that after a crisis like a hurricane, a lot of resources would have been struck.
We have a tailored solution for 1/8 of an acre or 1/4 of an acre, and we call it the gravity-fed irrigation system. So we can set this up, we can just place a water tank, and from there we can irrigate that land. So I find this solution a very efficient solution, because that way I don't need power, I don't need a pump, and everything can be just irrigated with this system. Whatever you see here is everything you need to set this up, and you just need a water tank and of course the water.
What can you say to farmers as it relates to just their mindset in approaching this kind of situation? Because what we find is that we're still going to be placed where we are on the map, and we have a lot of hurricanes each year we have to prepare for. So in preparation, how soon does that start? Before, what the mindset before and the mindset afterwards?
I believe that we have to plan ahead. So what I would say is that we have to look for an efficient technology, an efficient product to save water, to use water in a more efficient way, to use power. In general words, you can place a gas pump, you can place several pipes, and from there you can just move ahead. And if another hurricane comes, you can just unplug everything and store it in a safer way, in a safer place. Here you have a complete set to irrigate 1/4 of an acre. This is something very, very light that you can just take with you. So, and of course you need the water tank, of course. But in what I want to also say is that you can just unplug everything, store it in a safe place, and once the crisis passes, then you can just set this up again and start producing. All right.
Awesome. So we are going to journey to a farmer you made mention of, Mr. Superstar,
Right.
who will be sharing with us exactly how he would have used these same solutions to help him bounce back after Hurricane Melissa. So we're off to South Manchester now. So we are still with Isratech, and we've journeyed to South Manchester to speak with farmer Supersad about his irrigation system here on his farm. As you can see, his beautiful papayas blossoming really well. You have been in farming for over 40 years, and for those 40 years you've also been with Isratech. I want to find out, throughout those years of being in the industry, what changes have you seen in the industry?
Well, at the beginning of my agricultural career, farming here in this area, water was limited, and that's what drove me towards Isratech. And the irrigation scheme that they produce, which is the drip irrigation, at that time works out very efficient, using limited amount of water, putting the water where it is needed at the roots of the plant. One of the advantages, putting the water where the water is required, where it is needed at the root zone, by these emitters, which is in the hose, and they are at specified distance based upon your order. You can get them 1 foot, you can get them 2 foot. These are 6 feet emitters.
So we're walking through your farm, your papaya farm, and I want to find out from you, after Hurricane Melissa would have hit, what was the recovery like?
Well, the major recovery of this papaya was basically through the drip irrigation, which Isratech provided here. Isratech provided. I could have stored water before the storm in the containers that is there, and then after they assisted the storm, all electricity was out, so the irrigation NIC could not provide any water, and then I could control the little water that I have using the drip tape.
Whoa.
And that drive my papaya, which have lost all its leaf, back into leaf production. And that is why they are looking like this.
So we're on a different side of the farm, right? And I'm seeing a different kind of irrigation system. Can you explain this one?
This is a sprinkler system. And the reason why we have used sprinkler system is the density of the plant for scallion and thyme. They are at least 18 inches apart by at least 1 foot between rows. So because of the density and the availability of water, the farmers here in New Forest tends to use overhead irrigation. What is not practiced with the overhead irrigation, which is an irrigation set. They just stick these rainers up, have them running and they hitting the road and all over the place outside of the field. But with an irrigation set, for example, that irrigation there on these rainbirds, you have these control on them that allows to set for different angle from a 360 to a 90. On the outside here, I would set those at 180, so it would go to the pipe and then come back around to the pipe. These would give you a 360 because they are in the middle. Those on the outside edge there give you the same 180. In the corners of the field, you have a 90. And what this set allows using irrigation, the rainbird irrigation, is that you put them at distance where they can actually cover each other for uniform saturation.
So we've learned a lot from you. In closing, I want you to share with farmers any other tips or advice that you would give them as it relates to sustainable farming going forward.
Do your research before you enter agriculture. To have an idea of and knowledge of what you are going to do. And the next tip is that for the new person, you must be a part of it to ensure and to protect your investment. Agriculture is able to sustain you. And it is something, it is a career choice now that is needed more than ever for food security. And for the young youths that will be entering or considering, it is a vibrant entity. It is something that can make you wealthy, but it takes time and dedication.
All right, thank you so much. So you've heard it there from Mr. Super Sad, a veteran farmer over the years with his irrigation system, and sharing with us just how important it is for us to take agriculture seriously for food security. And food security can be a big cause of crisis if you really think about it. So let us invest in our farmers for a sustainable future.
Absolutely fascinating. I hope you enjoyed that feature as much as I did. And with me on set in person is Mr. Arturo Ramirez. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
All right. He is the technical director at Isratech Jamaica Limited. Mr. Ramirez, what are some of the ways in which farmers can improve crop coverage and protection?
Well, I would take the example from the video, all right? Because picture that Mr. Supersad has this system in place to boost the yield of the crop, all right? But not only that, because he was planning ahead, and what a best, I mean, that's the best solution to plan ahead, because that becomes a synonym of resilience. So with that infrastructure in place that was helping him to boost the yield of the crop, once the crisis passed, he was able to recover. He was able to rebuild stronger.
Yes.
So I would like to put the stress on that. To plan ahead.
Okay.
All right.
And my next question for you is, in light of Hurricane Melissa, how is Isratech Jamaica Limited supporting farmers who were affected and helping them recover?
All right. So during April, we are going to host on several dates and on several locations. We're going to host the Resilience Farm Tour. So we are inviting the farmers that were affected by the hurricane with a special focus on female farmers, because 2026 is the year of female farmers. And we are inviting them to get the opportunity to get irrigation equipment, water storage systems, pumps, piping networks as well, to help them rebuild, to help them recover stronger. So I would just say that please hit us on our social media pages to get more information, because we have the deadline coming this April the 3rd to get this done. All right?
Thank you so much. Well, there you have it. If you are a female especially and you are interested in farming, then definitely go on over to Isratech's Instagram page. And if you are wondering if there are any discount codes that you could benefit from, yes, there are. So again, head on over to their Instagram page and start a conversation with them. Now, we know that many homes were damaged following Hurricane Melissa, and as part of our commitment to living it, we went in search of finding more sustainable ways to rebuild, and we want to share that with you so you could live it too. So let's take a closer look at what we found.
As we continue our focus about building stronger after a crisis, it's important for us to look at sustainable means of rebuilding, and that also includes construction. Would you believe me if this is where technology is moving from now? From these beads called expandable polystyrene, right, to this building.
Vivalin Downer-Edwards, director at Freeform Factory Limited, shares with us just how this business started in Jamaica.
There's an interesting story about how we actually really got into the construction, and I want to tell you a little bit about it. Mr. Edwards and I were driving to Negril. I think we're going for a weekend. And it was around the time when the first Riu Hotel was being built in Negril. And while we were driving, we saw all this white foam on the ground. And Keys, who is, very much well-read on EPS, had been thinking about it, but didn't know that, it was being used here. So he saw, and he's like, Viv, that's foam. What are they doing? Being the curious person is, I'm not myself naturally curious, I have to say, but he's extremely curious. We stopped and he went in and said, what do you do with this? Because it was all over the place. What we found is that they had a particular system, a methodology of making their buildings, which was to make them lighter. They came to Jamaica with that already as part of their program. To make the buildings lighter, they would incorporate blocks of EPS in their slabs. So you have these large slabs that form their lobbies, and then when you go up with the 2, 3, 4 stories up, they are putting them in the floor, which is the roof of the one below, and you go up like that. And so in doing that, they're making the buildings lighter, and so it's like a basket system. We can show you some pictures of what that looks like. And so they'd been using that, and the idea was to make the buildings lighter because we are in an earthquake zone, building skilled people. You should not overbuild, and the buildings should not be too heavy. So part of using the foam, the idea is to make the building lighter, holds up better, not compromising on the strength. There's a lot of steel that is used in between, but it's like a void filler. So instead of using all this concrete, you put the foam, which is light and rigid, in the space. So it takes up the space, but it does not create weight. And that's the secret. So you get a lighter building. without pouring all that concrete in there. And so they had that methodology. And Keith got so excited and he said to them, well, you have to, you brought this in, that it was shipped in? And they said, yes. Now, of course, it's very expensive to ship that in. You're basically shipping air because foam, that's what it is. And that's expensive because you have to bring in all of this foam and it takes up a lot of space in the containers. And so a lot of your costs would be on shipping. And he, as brave as a person could be, asked whether if it was produced in Jamaica, whether they would buy it from him. He actually asked if he did it because he told them that he had a factory and he had some machines and he knows about EPS and he produces it, not to the extent that they were using it, but he knew he would be able to do it. And they said, yes, we would buy it from you. And he took that and he went to Venezuela where he had been before. He knew people who were in the EPS business, and he went and said, I'm going to be expanding and I'm going to be producing foam for use in hotels. And his good friend there said, oh, wonderful. I have some old machines I can sell you to get started. And I also have an EPS expert, a gentleman named Mr. Peralta, Arnaldo Peralta, who became an extraordinary member of our staff of nearly 17 years. And he came basically to install the machines to help us to produce this foam. And that's how we actually got started.
Operations Supervisor at Freeform Factory Limited, Mr. FEDWIRE Thomas, explains to us what EPS is and the production process for this material.
EPS, expandable polystyrene, is starting from a resin, which is a bead. It's a very small bead, which is passed through a process where it's expanded, pre-expanded, and it became a little bit bigger than the original side of it. So it's a quarter of an inch when it expands, it becomes 3/4. So that's the first process before it's fused together to give you a solid block. So that's whenever the bead is exposed to steam, it expands. The gas reacts and it starts to expand and the bead will get lighter and softer. After that, then they're sent to a silo where it's stored for a period of time to cure, and then it's sent to a black mold where they're fused together, where they're stuck in the mold. Then the steam is applied to it again, and because when they start to expand, they do have nowhere to go, so they fuse into each other, and that's where you get the closed cell. And that's how it started. And then from there, you can cut it in any shape, any form you want it to do, to produce any product you want. Moldings, structural panels, ICF blocks, coolers, reed frames, you name it, we can do it.
Fun fact, here at Freeform Factory Limited, most of the things that you'll see in the office, you'll have to take a second look because it's made out of foam. This is actually foam. This that you're seeing inside is also made of foam. And the fishes love it. See? All right, so we are now with Mr. Kevin Garwood. He's a construction administration coordinator, and he's about to tell us about EPS in construction.
All right, good day. Thank you for coming. So in terms of construction, there are several products that we have created to be used in the construction industry. And I'm just going to give you a brief explanation of each for today. So one of them, which is behind me, is our structural panels or insulated concrete panels. Now, these are panels which are made from the foam material being in the middle, and it is encased by galvanized mesh. There's also a product that we call the light deck system, which is used for roofing and floor slab systems. And we also have EPS staircases, believe it or not. Your staircase, which is so bulky nowadays, when you use concrete, is reduced to using just the foam panels, again with galvanized mesh on it. And of course, based on how it is designed, you have the cavity in which you put your steelwork and pour concrete. So it's structurally safe, just using less steel, less concrete. And in terms of construction time, it is very quick.
Mr. Garwood, I heard a lot about what this product is used for, but I want to know, is it safe? Is it approved to use in Jamaica?
Yes, it is very safe. And of course, it's approved by the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. And the thing is, in terms of testing, while we do not perform tests ourselves locally, we use a lot of benchmark tests that are done internationally. So, for example, for hurricanes, we use the test that was done by the Florida Building Codes. And of course, that test yielded over 300 miles per hour testing for hurricane winds. And also, they have done tests in like Nigeria, places in Italy as well, in terms of for earthquake. So they do compression load testing on it, and they perform excellent during those tests. So the walls do not crumble easily, and they do not give you that structural cracks during earthquake as well. So it's very safe. It's a very safe material to use in that case. And for thermal insulation as well, the R values of them is very high, meaning that it actually keeps the heat out during the hot times and therefore keep you a bit warmer on the colder times on the inside. So in terms of those tests, we use international benchmarks for them.
All right, so you're saying I'm getting the best value for money here because not only could I just use these instead of apply, I also have a quick turnaround time as it relates to rebuilding, and it keeps me cool when it's hot, and when it's when it's cold, it also keep me warm.
Yeah, so most definitely. So in terms of rebuilding purposes, the construction cost usually comes out cheaper than most traditional building systems, and it's also quicker in terms of installation. So those are the two main factors. But of course, there are other factors, which again, like the thermal insulation, your noise insulation, moisture as well, prevention. It does not attract mold or mildew. So those are some key benefits of using the products.
All right, so Mr. Garwood, you have mentioned the use of EPS in construction, but I know that you are also involved with roadworks. So tell us about EPS with roadworks.
All right, so in terms of those type of structures, civil works, the product itself can be used for road surfaces, for roadworks. And the example is with the Portmore leg of the toll, where they had the issue of the soil being unstable. And what it did was when they actually laid the marl and did the necessary groundwork, they started having lumps in the road and all that. So what we use is the foam itself in the form of geofoam to fix that issue. So for example, even if you're doing like a retaining wall and you want to remove all that pressure that is exerted against the wall, you can clear that area, fill it with the geofoam, creating that lightweight structure, and then just put, there's some topsoil on that. And that prevents that wall from easily falling over. And even in the case where you have slope sites and you want to create like a parking lot for argument's sake, the materials are perfect to create that fill within the wall area, the parking space area. And then, of course, you put your finishing materials on top. So that's the geofoam aspect of it.
Wow, so basically you're telling us that EPS has literally solved a lot of our challenges and also provided a very cost-effective way for us to build sustainably. So even in our roads that would have been destroyed following the passage of Hurricane Melissa, we can use geofoam to build the retaining walls for our homes or even road surfaces. That's really, really good, something very transformational. We've heard about the products that EPS is used to make and just how it has been changing the construction space. But one can't help but wonder, how cost-effective is this product?
In talking about affordability, part of what makes the system affordable is when you utilize it as a system. For example, the insulated concrete panel system. Let's talk about that. So when used as a system, it ties itself up. You do not need to use columns and beams in the traditional way. That reduces your cost significantly. The roof it connects to the building itself, the walls. And what that does is, imagine now in a hurricane where roofs tend to go off, you have no more monolithic structure where everything is connected. You can't blow that roof off. You're going to have to blow down the whole house because the roof is connected to the wall and all tied together. And that's the beauty of using the insulated concrete panel system.
There you have it. The potentials of EPS is unlimited. Here at Freeform Factory Limited, we have learned just how EPS is revolutionizing the game of construction for homes and even for road networks. What are you waiting for? Give them a call and learn how you can rebuild smarter for the future. Please continue watching our workshop.
You know what this is reiterating, at least for me, I don't know for you, that this is truly the education and wellness station, because I have been learning so much throughout as far as we have gotten in our program. With me is Mr. Kevin Garwood. Welcome. He is a construction administration coordinator at Freeform Factory, and you would have seen him on your screen just now. He is with us in person on set. Mr. Garwood, I've just been learning some things that have been blowing my mind. I've been talking to you one-on-one, but what is the feedback like from persons who have used Freeform Factory Limited, your products so far?
Okay, so from builders and consumers alike, regular customers, one of the main things that persons speak of is the fact that you can, especially in the cases where, let's say for Melissa, you're able to rebuild in a much quicker turnaround time. And the cost factor, the saving factor from it, you know, it's not as expensive as some of those traditional systems. So that's one thing. And then also, persons look at the economic side in terms of you saving on your energy bills. Because of course, the thermal insulation means that, of course, it translates to you using your AC systems, for example, much less. Or if you do use it any at all, it does not consume as much energy as if you were using other systems. So those are some of the key things that persons actually speak of. And of course, there are persons who have done their research and realize how safe it is in terms of for hurricanes. Because it's still rated for Category 5 hurricane systems. And also in terms of earthquakes, because they are much safer than some traditional systems for earthquakes as well.
Wow.
So most of the customers actually give us that feedback that, you know, the product is one that is well needed in our society, especially based on our geographical location and so forth. So.
Wow, no, EPS is not a new technology globally, but how has it been used in other countries, and how can Jamaica benefit from adopting these types of housing solutions?
Well, it has been used extensively in North America, in Nigeria, and of course some Caribbean countries like the Dominican Republic, the Cayman Islands, they use the products extensively as well. And even though it is fairly new to Jamaica, it has been around using in Jamaica for over 20 years.
Wow.
But a lot of persons think it's more recent than that. But it has gained a lot of traction, especially in recent times again, because, and stemming from the recent hurricane, not just Melissa, but from Brickell as well, where persons realize that, you know, this is really the way to go forward. And, you know, it's ideal for our tropical location, tropical climate rather, and our geographical location, because, you know, in terms of the tropics, the heat,
yes,
and so forth. So persons look towards this product to assist in that regard. And of course, again, our geographical location, which we're prone for hurricanes, and the systems are very much safe to be used against these systems. So that's why it is much more ideal for us to use this product in our tropical climates.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Mr. Garwood. Yes. And to those of you listening and watching, you know that this is not the Living It without some giveaways. So I have some giveaways. I have, earlier we spoke with Isratech Jamaica. Isratech will be giving away a 1/4 acre irrigation kit specifically to a farmer, but you have to answer the question and be correct. And also a goodie bags with branded items. And Freeform Factory Limited will be giving away a bean bag as well. But I have a question. So here's the first question for the giveaway. To those who are watching on NCU TV Jamaica and EJC Online, State 3 construction products that are made using EPS. State 3 construction products that are made using EPS. We will be monitoring the chats, and let's see who gets this one correct. We'll be taking a break right now. We'll be right back.
We are agriculture. We help farmers and businesses grow and farm smarter with over 35 years experience and over 1,000 products and services, catering to small, medium, and large-scale farmers. Irrigation systems are built in the Caribbean for the Caribbean. From seed to harvest, consultation and design, to after-sales service and support. Let's work together because it's time to master the land and grow sustainably. Call or WhatsApp 876-484-0355 today. We are energy. We help businesses and industries power their operations smarter, improving efficiency, reducing energy waste, and supporting long-term sustainability. Energy solutions and systems trusted by commercial, industrial, hospitality, and public sector clients. Energy consultation and system design, installation, optimization, and after-sales service and support. Prime power, generator and solar power you can count on. Let's work together because it's time to power progress, reduce costs, and operate sustainably. Get your quote today. Call or WhatsApp 876-578-5817 today.
All right. You see, crisis doesn't just test what we have, it tests what we know and how we respond. Tonight, we've been helping you to move from guessing to knowing what to do. And I want to test your knowledge. So far, we've been teaching you, it's game time, it's quiz time. So of course, if you have not done it as yet, we've sent the link in the WhatsApp, in the Zoom chat. And you can click that link right now to join our quiz. Once you have clicked the link, you're going to open it into your browser on your phone, your laptop, whatever it is, and it's going to take you exactly to that page, which is called Wayground Platform. After the link has been opened, you're going to need to type your name. So anything you want me to refer to you as, you're going to type it. If it's apple, strawberry, berry, anything, that's what I'm going to refer to you as. Once the game starts, some questions will appear on your screen. one at a time, and each question will have multiple choice answers. Select the answer that you think is right, and I'm hoping that you were paying attention, so you can get them right. But remember, if you get the answer wrong, it's not going to help you. But try to answer as quick as possible. If you've never played Wayground before, super easy, super user-friendly, and yeah, we're ready to go. Are you ready? I hope you're ready. We're ready. Let us go, Zoom, let us go. Are we ready? Let's go. All right, so I'm seeing some person saying that they're clicking the link now. All right, Angela Johnson, have you joined us yet? Beverly Johnson, good day to you. Have you joined? I like competitions, so I'm hoping that you like competitions too. I want to see persons coming up on the leaderboard. I want to see persons winning because we have some prizes for you. And just in case you're seeing on my set some little bottles and so on, I don't really want to go home with too many bottles, so I'll give you a few. This one is from Freeform Factory. Yeah. And I think we also have a key ring. Yes. Yeah, I'll give this one away just because. So ensure that you participate in our quiz and click the link. If you want the link once more in our Zoom chat, you can let us know and we will provide that for you. Also, I want to say a very special shout outs to our sponsors, of course. Without them, this would not have been possible. I want to say a shout out to Isratech Jamaica Limited, Freeform Factory Limited. And if you're looking and you're seeing my little beanbag here, yeah, man, big up to Freeform Factory Limited. And of course, our location sponsor, the Garden Hotel. Beautiful space, and we're really enjoying it. Quiz time, ready? Let's go. All right, okay. It is loading, and we have, all right, we're joining. Okay. Little music to help you keep the vibe and energy and everything. All right, I see person still clicking the link, still joining. No problem. We're giving you a little bit more time. Okay. I like a friendly competition, so ensure that you are ready. Can we have the link once more in the chat for me, please? Once more in the chat. Persons are still getting ready. Remember, put your name. If you want me to call you Strawberry, that's what I'll be calling you, right? Whatever name that you want us to call you. And of course, when you win, I'm putting that out there, when you win, ensure that you send us a WhatsApp text message via WhatsApp. That's 876-457-1414. Send us a message when you have won. You'll see it on the leaderboard. Send us a message to let us know that you were first, second, or third to our WhatsApp line with your name and your number. Of course, we will contact you regarding that. All right. So, in the meantime, I believe we have persons who are watching on YouTube. I believe we have persons who are watching on Zoom as well. I have some questions that you can drop the answers to in the chat. Some questions that I think you should be able to answer based on what you'd have learned so far. I know some persons were saying that they had a rough time coping with certain situations and they were the type of person to panic when certain things happen. But I want to know, quick question to you. Let us say that you are walking on the road, the main road. Cars are driving by, persons are walking by, and you drop your phone. Anything, has that ever happened to somebody? You drop your phone really hard on the face. What would you do? Let me know in the chat. You're walking on the road, you drop your phone. What would you do? I've been there, done that. I don't know if you can see my screen right now, but it's pretty much cracked. In my situation, I didn't look at my phone. I just took it up and I knew it was broken. Let me see what's happening in our chat right now on YouTube. I believe this is NCU TV Jamaica or YouTube channel. Let's see. All right. I've seen some persons talking about the quiz. I'm seeing some persons saying that they are here. Olivia Palmer, blessings to you. All right, Maxine Anderson is also here with us. Denise Alexander. Let's see, Claudia. Good day to you. It's a pleasure to have you. Hi. All right, let's see who else is here with us. I'm seeing Tiffany's also here, Georgia Tucker Rowe, Valerie Morrison. Hi, good day. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Gloria Stewart is also here, and I'm seeing persons getting ready for the quiz. I know that there's a new quiz link posted in the chat that you can actually access there on Zoom. So if you haven't as yet, check it out. It is on our Zoom platform in the chat. So ensure that you click that link and do the process once more. Click the link, open it in your browser, write the name that you want me to call you, and click ready. All right. Okay. I'm checking to make sure everybody's good in WhatsApp, in Zoom. I'm seeing persons on YouTube. They're good and they're waiting on the quiz to start. And just a reminder that if you have not registered, you won't be able to join the quiz. It's for persons who have registered and joined on Zoom. So ensure that you have registered. All right. Claudia is also responding to my question, saying, I would take it up and try to get it fixed if it is damaged. All right, no problem. We can focus and we can work on it when we get the chance to. So we are ready to start our quiz. I'm seeing persons joining in. All right. Let's see. And we are starting in and go. Let's go. All right. 3, 2, and 1. All right. Persons are answering quickly, man. No, man. You guys studied. You guys are paying attention. And it's the right answers, too. Okay. All right, we have persons on the leaderboard fighting for first place, second place, third place. Okay, I see some persons moving from the bottom all the way up to the top. We're answering quickly and we're answering correctly. Beautiful. Yeah, man. All right. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm seeing fight for first, second, and third place happening right now. Okay. All right. You guys are answering quickly. Love it. Let's see what's happening over here. No, we're slowing down. The answer is getting a bit tough to answer. Okay, let me see what's happening over here. First, we have a first place winner. Yep. I like the purple color there, no problem. Second place, third place, what's happening? We're slowed down with the questions. We're slowing down with the answers. All right. I think this test was a bit too easy. I think we need to make it harder next time. Okay. We finished already? Okay, we still have some persons answering. But I believe we have our first place winner. And we have a second, and we have third. We have just a few more seconds left in our quiz. You still have a few more seconds to answer. All right, let's see. A few more seconds. Come, people, fight for the places. Fight for the places. Prizes given away, you know. Okay. I'm realizing that second place has switched with third place. Okay, no problem. Who is coming third? Who is coming third? Time is running out on you. Okay. So we have first place, we have second place. Waiting for third place. I think the last couple of questions are extremely hard, so persons are finding a bit more of a challenge there. All right. Few more seconds. Are we done? Not done yet. No, man, these last 2 questions are hard. What's going on? Okay. We're still looking out for third place. You still have a chance at third place if you haven't answered the final 2 questions as yet. You still have a chance of winning third place. Okay, I'm seeing some persons moving up. Some persons are moving up on the leaderboard, fighting for third place. Okay, so we only have first and second. Okay, and let's see. Still fighting for third place? I'm seeing first and second. Who's gonna come third for us right now? Who's gonna come third for us? Okay, so we have third. So game over. No problem. So you're going to see on your screen who is on the leaderboard for first, second, and third. Of course, please remember, can I have those names, please? Let me see those names. We have first, second, and third. If you're seeing your names on the leaderboard for first, second, and third, send us a WhatsApp message, 876-457-1414, your name and your number. And of course, we'll get back to you with how you can collect your prize. Congratulations to you, and thank you so much for participating in our quiz. Let's get back to the main show.
All right, very exciting. You know that I do love a good quiz, and congratulations to our winners. Now it's time for our question and answer segment. I have with me all the presenters here. Let me see if I'm seeing any questions in the chat so far. I'm not seeing any right now, but encouraging you please to go on and type your question. But I have some questions while we wait on your questions. So I have some questions here. Starting with Dr. Kelly, explain a little bit more about the freeze. We're familiar with the flight or the fight, but it was my first time really hearing about the freeze. I know for sure it happens, but explain a little bit more about that occurrence when dealing with crisis.
The freeze can be described as a total lockdown of your psychological and even your physical system. So you're unable to think, to respond, and to do things the normal way. So that's what the freeze is like. Last week I had a challenge with my car. Yes. I went out, I started it, and I lift the brake up, and the car just keep lifting as if the brake was still down. It wouldn't go forward, it wouldn't go backward. And I had to go get help, and when the person came, the only thing that they did was to keep pressing the gas, and the car skid until the wheels opened up. So that suggests that the wheels were locked. And it could not move, it couldn't go forward, it couldn't go backward. That's what happened to you. Psychologically, you're closed off. You cannot think, you cannot process. And your body, there are some persons who they start getting significant perspiration, sweating.
Yes.
You know, in Jamaica, we say you sweat running down your face like perspiration running down your face like sweat.
Yes.
But within that context, the freeze is you are actually locked in psychologically. And sometimes, I recall in Turks, one year when there was this storm, and the United States sends a whole lot of body bags, thinking that so many people would have died. Wow. And it never happened that way. But when we went into one of the spaces, interacting with the folks, there was this young lady, she sat there and she was like, and that's how she was for days. She wasn't eating, she wasn't talking, she wasn't doing anything. That's severe. For some persons, it may last for seconds, others minutes, and sometimes it needs external intervention in order to get the person out of that state of mind.
Wow. I have some questions here from our viewers and listeners. How do you overcome a mental block?
There are many ways to do that, and one of the things that I suggested, in terms of doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that's one method that you can utilize. But having a mental block, sometimes it takes expert help to guide the person through the process so that they can start thinking and seeing things differently. So having a mental block could be not only in a crisis, but you are not au fait to certain things and you are not supporting certain things. And so as a result, you need what we call cognitive reconstruction. So you reset your mind, and there are different methodologies that are used. But first of all, you have to come to the knowledge and appreciation that something is wrong. And then you can treat with it moving forward. Because if you don't know that something is wrong, you will not be able to address it. So sometimes, as I said, most cases it takes external support in order to bring that person to the consciousness so that they can see where the block is. And then the various intervention is used to support them through
I have
that.
one more question before I move to the gentleman. And I found this one very interesting. Is it therapeutic to help others who are going through a crisis when you are going through one as well?
It can be therapeutic, but we have to be careful how we support the person. Because if we are not careful, we can get what we call compassion fatigue. All right? And that is when you give so much that in this instance, when you are supporting the person, your situation is becoming more difficult and more challenging. So yes, it can be therapeutic, but at some points you have to determine what it is, because some persons, they get into the overdrive to help others as their mechanism of dodging from the situation. I'm using the simplest language so that persons can appreciate it.
Understand. Moving on over to you, Mr. Garwood. There was mentioned that the roof, there is an attachable, help. The roof is attachable. I'm going to try to communicate in the best I can this. But all right, the products that are offered by Freeform Factory Limited, are they additions to bare construction? So like you have your building already outlined, are they additions, or can you build from scratch?
Yes, you can build from scratch, from foundation up. As you would have seen in one of the presentations from Mrs. Edwards, she would have explained that the wall and the roof panels, what pretty much happens is that you would put the walls up and attach the panels to the top for the roofing with using specialized meshes. In this case, it would be like the L mesh at each intersection. Now, there are also other methods that we have, because we have a particular product that is called the light deck system. Now, how that works is that you actually use less concrete and less steel work to create that deck system. But at the same time, you still maintain the structural integrity of your roofing system. It's somewhat similar to what most of the hotels would use, the Rio hotels, where they would actually use like a waffle system in where they would replace the bulk of the concrete with the foam itself, which produces a lighter system. So of course it's safer during an earthquake. And it's something similar to that we use for like the construction of residential buildings as well.
Okay, very interesting. And to you, Mr. Ramirez, what is the starting price for a drip irrigation kit, and are consultations free?
Okay, so it's very complex to give a price, because when it comes to an irrigation system, we have to consider a lot of variables. So what is the size of the property? What is the distance between the rows of the plants? What is the distance between the drippers? How far we want the lateral to go? So it's not easy to answer that question because of all the variables that we have to consider. And what was the other part of the question, sorry?
The other question is, are consultations free?
Most of the times, yes, because it is based on how far we can go. We have a team that is permanently on the field, so we can take advantage of that. So if there is an assessment very close to where they are working, of course we can visit and gather more information to have this assessment done.
Okay, we're going to head on over to Zoom shortly, but before we do, another question for you, Dr. Kelly. How do you best support children or teens during a crisis?
Very interesting question, because some persons are of the opinion that children do not experience
Right.
situations like these as adults, but
Yes.
they do. So one of the first things that we need to appreciate is that they are human persons who have feelings and they can respond to these situations. And similar to the adult, you use the language, and sometimes for them, it's not a verbal language. You may have to use play, use different methodology, depends on their developmental stage, and treat with them accordingly. So you let them touch, they use their senses, they touch, they see, and they feel, depends on their age, and you treat with that. So use play therapy, and don't talk to them as if they are, oh, you go on, no. No, talk with them so that they can hear and interpret and understand what you are saying to them. For the teenagers, at that stage, some of them are in that phase where everything, they're like Superman and Superwoman, okay, so they're exploring. And so some things they don't take it seriously because of the way they are thinking. So those who are in the more concrete developmental stage, cognitive, the concrete stage of development, they can see. So you use, okay, we are trained with different techniques and methodology to use. So we would know within the context how to talk with them. But what you do, find out from them, how are you feeling today? What was the hardest thing for you? When this happened, how did it make you feel? And you ask them those questions and you allow them to speak, you listen, you don't make assumptions. That's one of the biggest things, never make assumptions, but make sure that you find out from them how they are and have the conversation, open conversations. Because in a crisis, say for example, and I'm going there because it's one of the hot topics where a young person, male or female, the crisis happened, the storm happened, or there's a death, and at the night or whatever, or in the darkness, they got molested. That's complicated situations. So sometimes they are locked down. Observe their pattern of behavior. What if they were this jovial person, outgoing, and then they start becoming withdrawn? All of those telltale signs, you treat with it accordingly. And in some families, a child may go to the neighbor's house, something happened, and you are accustomed to trusting that person with your children. And the child says to you, Mommy or Daddy, I don't want to go. And you're like, you must, because we don't have a choice, or whatever you're going to say to them. Be careful, because the child may have been hurt, they may be experiencing the situation, and they were threatened, so they cannot talk. So they are saying to you, please help me by not making me do this again. And then we didn't listen, and then later on we find out what they were. So be careful to listen, make your observations, speak with them openly, and have the difficult conversation so that they can speak out and share with you. And teenagers, they need more support role, like companion, friendship, rather than parenting that is going to let them feel like, okay, well, I'm under this bondage. No, they don't want that. Teenagers are like mercury. You put it on an open surface, it stays there. You lock it up. That's why the thermostats, that's why that little thing in there, when they put it under your tongue or ear, it moves. They are like that. So give them the freedom of expression and support them through whatever they are going through. That would be my suggestion.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Tijal, what's happening over there on Zoom?
Well, I can tell you, Sinokia, that our students are paying attention because they're asking some really complicated questions, which shows me that they're ready to start making a bit more preparation when it comes down to preparing for crises. Now, a question that we got was, is building with EPS more expensive upfront, or does it save money in the long run? A question for Mr. Garwood.
All right, so it's actually cheaper upfront, and also it actually saves you again on your utility because, of course, the buildings are much cooler because of the insulation. So it means that your energy bill would be lower. All right? So it's actually cheaper to build with from upfront and also in the long run.
All right. Thank you for that answer.
Yeah.
And another question going out to Dr. Kelly. You spoke about some grounding tools, the shoulder drop, the tongue drop, and all of that. Someone is asking if these tools can replace professional help or should they work alongside with it?
Excellent question. They should work alongside it. If persons are in therapy, you should continue with your therapist or your counselor. But these are things that can be utilized in different settings. So even in your counseling session, your counselor or therapist would introduce some of these practical tools for you and some additional things we call PQ, positive psychology reps. Simply just doing this with your fingers when you feel tense and challenged and you may be getting angry. You just take a deep breath and feel the ridges on your finger and just do that and relax. And it keeps you calm and regulates your feelings. So the answer to your question, don't replace your therapy. Use it to enhance it.
Beautiful, loving that answer. And I also got a question asking if the hydroponic system has dirt in the middle and if there is a lighting system that allows plants to grow indoors. I believe that's a question for Sir Ramirez.
There are lighting systems to start growing indoors. And the other part of the question, sorry?
Oh, so it's asking if the hydroponic system has dirt in the middle and if there is a lighting system that allows plants to grow indoors.
Okay, so as any other system, a hydroponic system requires maintenance, all right? So it is recommended to clean a hydroponic system every 2 weeks to replace the water, to remove any dirt from any part of the system. And as I said before, for the other part of the question, yes, there are lighting systems also to grow plants indoors, all right?
All right, thank you for that. And one final question to you, sir. After a flood, a hurricane, or other natural disasters, what are the first steps that homeowners should take to safely assess and to restore the irrigation system before turning it back on?
All right, so it is very important to assess all the equipment in place, to check for cracks on the pipes, to check for cracks on the water storage system. And if you are running on fuel, just check that you don't have any leak of fuel throughout the whole equipment. And then start powering your system and check for the pressure, monitor for the pressure. And eventually you will reach to a point where you can ensure that the pressure is fine and you can let the water flow and keep monitoring and find some leaks just to ensure that everything is working properly. But I'm going to put the stress on the pressure because that is a very good indicator to ensure that the system is working fine.
All right. Thank you so much for your responses. And thank you, Zoom, for your questions. Trust me, they're paying attention. They're writing notes. I saw Robert Lewis earlier telling me that he works on irrigation and stuff like that. So I know that we have some professionals in our chat that are really engaging with this conversation. Back to you, Sinokia.
Thank you so much, TC. As we say in Jamaica, all good things have to come to an end. Not for those on Zoom, because we will be having a post show. So if you are on Zoom, please keep it locked. And we are going to be, I said keep it locked as if I'm on air, but stay Stay right there. And remember that we have giveaways. Want to say thank you to our representatives and presenter, Dr. Grace Kelly, Mr. Ramirez from Isratech, and Mr. Garwood from Freeform Factory. And as we close, remember this: a crisis is not just about what we go through, it's about what we grow through, what we choose to learn, how we choose to respond, and the steps that we take after can shape what comes next. So as you leave here tonight, don't just reflect on the crisis, but commit to responding with wisdom and moving forward stronger than before. Thank you again to everyone who has helped to make this possible, and see you next quarter for our next Living It workshop.